Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond. I'm Siobhan, and we're going to do another collective reading today, but this is kind of on a same topic or on the same topic as I just did a members only reading. And the topic was one of the written in ones, and it was the wound and the medicine. And there were some interesting themes that came up in that reading. So I kind of wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that and see what would like to come up. And then, interestingly, when I sat down with the two decks that Spirit called me to, and I pulled out a card before I started recording, the one that came out is Seagull. Now is the time for deep emotional healing. So this is direct confirmation of what Spirit is bringing through in terms of the inspiration for me to do this collective reading. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. I think I'm going to start with the tarot and then we'll go into Oracle. We'll get more of those animal cards. So what is the wound that we're talking about here for the souls that were drawn to this reading, Spirit? Okay, we have the Seven of Cups, Hesperus. I'm seeing him crying these golden tears, and it feels to me like this is a deep emotional release. The wound honestly feels kind of like being lost at sea or overwhelmed, being alone and distracted, disillusioned. I'm also hearing. We have the Magician with Hecate. She's actually been coming up a lot. I've been seeing synchronicities of Hecate. So there's magic in the wound. I'm hearing magic in the wound. And we have the Fool, Pan, a fresh start, a new beginning. I'm also hearing getting grounded. And I did check the bottom of the deck on the Oracle deck, and it was the Tortoise. You're too fragmented, so do whatever it takes to get grounded. So it does feel like part of the healing here is getting grounded, because I did feel like the wound is around feeling disillusioned, disoriented, confused, lost at sea, overwhelmed, directionless. I'm also hearing. All right, they just said not all who wander are lost. Not all who wander are lost. And I'm getting that from the Fool energy. So part of healing this wound, or the medicine in this wound, is about being able to embrace the moments that you feel the most lost and not to give up hope. To know that there's magic in this, that you are, I'm hearing summoning, that you're summoning something in, or you're able to summon something in despite feeling overwhelmed, confused, or having too many options and not knowing which direction to put your energy, your focus, or your emotions. We have the Two of Coins, Oceanus. Yeah, there's something about the ocean here. A deep well of grief, I just heard. Okay. Cleansing with seawater or salt water or the ocean could be helpful for this. But there's something about this grief, the salty tears, right? The golden tears. There's something of like a cleansing or purifying effect when we're crying. And I know that energetically is true, but they're showing me that in terms of like the salt content of a tear. And the Two of Coins here is talking about, again, bringing these fragments together, bringing these pieces together and being able to get grounded again, because it feels like there's fragmented parts of the self. The wound was like a split in the self, and usually that's caused by trauma. Big T or little t trauma, either way, it's trauma, and trauma is subjective. It's different from person to person. What traumatizes one person may not traumatize another. But the wound here was some kind of trauma. Ace of Coins. You're bringing those two coins and merging them into one. That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm seeing. So bringing those two sides of the self back together again. This is the medicine. There's armor that I'm seeing here too. Armor through magic, they're saying. Armor through magic. What do you mean by that, Spirit? They're showing me flying free or soaring above. Oh, and we have the moon and the star. Interesting. Something about soaring above, flying free. This could even be to do with astrology. Your moon sign, your rising sign. I'm also hearing moon and rising. The star card here just said rising. And then we've got obviously the moon. So Nyx and Selene. And the moon rules the ocean tides. Yeah, there's something so deep about the ocean. Poseidon could be significant. I just heard Poseidon or Neptune. We don't even have the god Neptune here, but I'm getting Neptunian energy. Especially from this Seven of Cups. It feels strongly to me like confusion is the wound. Emotional confusion, emotional overwhelm, not knowing which way is up, feeling disoriented, and then that leading to disillusionment because you're like, I don't know where I'm at or who I am or what I'm supposed to do here. I'm feeling emotionally turbulent. Knight of Swords, Aries. Part of the solution here is getting clear in your mind, in your thinking. Because it feels to me, the word they're giving me is muddled. It feels to me like a lot of this confusion could be resolved if there was a way to settle the mind. And the way that I'm seeing them talking about doing that, it's bringing these fragments back together by getting grounded, being able to re-anchor into the body, into the physical form, into the essence. I'm also hearing deep healing is taking place at this time. The High Priestess, Persephone. Yeah, it's like you've gone to the underworld and back. Grieving the loss. Oh, there's two cards here. There was one stuck behind it. The Empress, Hera. Yeah, this grounding energy, Taurus, is coming through strongly. This ability to dive deep and to transform the self. They're actually showing me the scene in The Craft, the movie The Craft, when they change the color of their hair. This is like the first time they start using magic, and glamour magic came up in one of the last collective readings I did. I don't know how this is. Oh, feeling confused, changing the color of the hair. They showed me the scene when she changes her hair to blonde. A blonde person, or you could be blonde, but a blonde person could be significant, or the color of blonde hair connected to loss, grief, confusion. Feeling overwhelmed, not knowing what is what or who is who. That could be part of this as well. Or you could feel like you lost a part of yourself. Something transitioned into the spirit realm here, and there's a well of grief as a result. A part of you was lost in the spirit realm. But you're calling it back. The magic, the healing, the medicine in the wound is that you're calling this part of you back. You're finding yourself again. And how do you find something that's lost? Well, you have to wander. You have to look for it. You have to get kind of lost to find it. Now they're giving me the phrase from Pirates of the Caribbean where Jack says something about how can you find something that's lost that can't be found? You have to get lost to find it. Three of Wands. Summoning. They're giving me the word summoning again. Summoning or calling something back to you as part of the search. Okay, they just showed me somebody calling out in the dead of night. Yeah, something about the dead of night. We don't even have the death card, but I'm getting it strongly from the High Priestess. So it's like nothing actually died, I don't think. Could have, but there's just an energy here of like a part of the self that, oh yeah, it split off. Okay. Whoa. And as soon as I said that, look, the Knight of Cups and how there's two of him. Emotionally split. Gemini energy could be significant here too. But I'm seeing this fragmentation of the self. In extreme cases, this can look like split personality or multiple personality or even bipolar, or it can show up as anything really. Deep grief, pain. They're saying psychological trauma. This is what we're talking about. This is the wound, the psychological trauma and the emotional burden that tore things in half. The Three of Cups coming back together. I keep feeling that there's a reunion happening here. You're reuniting with parts of yourself that you perceive that you lost. Ooh, or that were stolen. I just heard that you perceived that were stolen. Maybe you felt like an aspect of yourself was stolen from you. There's the Death card. I knew that he was going to show up eventually. Thanatos. I heard death is your friend. Okay, somebody... You're working with the angel of death and making friends with this energy because there's power in the transformation. Death is not the end. They're showing me in the Mummy. Death is only the beginning. So this death of yourself is actually part of you finding yourself. You're going into the other realm. They're showing me going into the underworld and retrieving that part of yourself. Now they're showing me the story. I don't remember who it is or what this myth is about, or who's in the myth, but there's a Greek, we're using the Greek deck. There's a Greek story where this guy has to go into the underworld to retrieve his wife, and Hades says, I'll let you retrieve her soul and bring her back to, the living, the world of the living, if you lead her completely out of Hades without looking back. So he has to trust the entire time without looking back that she's back there. He has to trust Hades. He has to trust himself. He has to trust the whole situation. But at the last second, he's stepping out and he's stepping out into the land of the living. And he looks back and she's just about to go into the land of the living. She's like halfway into becoming whole again or becoming alive again. And she gets sucked back. And I'm hearing the words grief and stolen again, grief and stolen. You may have felt like someone was stolen from you, or like I said, this part of yourself. So a big part of the retrieval here is trust and working with the light shy, something about being shy, the light side rather than the shadow side of death. He will help you. He is your friend. I keep hearing that. An angel of death. You could be working with Azrael, Archangel Azrael, to recall this part of yourself. Four of Cups, Styx. Yeah, the river Styx. That's the ferryman who takes you across. Or isn't that I can't remember his name. Charon. But it feels like you're in some kind of like a very pivotal transition point where you're moving. I just looked up and it was 1313, where you're moving from one shore to the other and then back again, there and back again. Like you're moving across, retrieving, looking, searching, finding, allowing that grief to be your compass actually is what they just showed me, because grief is love with nowhere to go. So if you follow the grief, it's going to lead you to what was stolen from you. What was lost? What was stripped away? Part of this is your innocence. Part of this is your hope. Part of this is your ability to be happy, I'm hearing, or to feel stable and balanced. To feel whole again. To be whole again. Not just to feel whole again. Like this was a fragment of your soul. Soul fragmentation is real. The consciousness can totally split itself. I do have a soul retrieval meditation and activation. If you guys are interested, it's on the tarot shop on my website, which is linked below. I think it's like $11 or something like that. I made it affordable because it's extremely powerful, but I wanted to make it available to as many people as I could, because if you need help with this, like if you need a supplement to help you with this, it will be helpful. You don't necessarily need it though. You can do this on your own. You are doing this on your own. But if that calls to you, it could help. The Tower, Poseidon. I knew Poseidon was going to show up. I was feeling him. I was sensing his energy. There's a level of sensitivity here. Maybe this is what was blocked, or what was the part of you that was lost, was because this extreme sensitivity. I'm seeing imagination. They're showing me fantasy, maladaptive daydreaming. This could show up as maladaptive daydreaming, or trying to escape from your reality, getting lost, dissociative disorders, dissociative tendencies. We don't have to make it pathological. It's just there's an experience of being disconnected from the self. And Poseidon is here with his, I'm hearing menacing gaze. Okay, so something about Poseidon, the planet Neptune, something about this was the core of the wound. The fantasy realms were both your haven and your doom or your destruction. It feels like going into the imagination was preferable at times over facing the pain of reality, but at other times the reality would warp and distort the imagination realm and make it a haunting place to go. And they're showing me Hades again, going into hell, walking through hell. One of my favorite quotes, though, is, if you're walking through hell, don't stop. Why would you stop in hell? Keep walking. Keep going. Don't give up. It's like having the trust to be able to make it all the way back to the land of the living again, to reawaken. I did notice that in the Knight of Cups, there's one of him with his eyes closed and one of him with his eyes open. So as you retrieve this part of yourself, you're integrating the sleeper and the waker, the awoken one, I'm hearing. So whatever it was that struck down your tower and caused you to retreat into this inner fantasy realm or into escapism in some way, substances could also be part of this. There's so many ways that this could show up, and it's going to be different for each person. For me, I escaped into reading. I read books voraciously to get away from the trauma and the psychological stuff that I was experiencing in my family. So I'm seeing you retrieving this part of yourself. 9 of Cups, and being able to find happiness again. I'm hearing stillness in the mind. Oh, and they're showing me a beautiful placid lake. Lake Placid. Actually, that could be significant. I know that's an actual lake, and that they just popped that into my mind. Lake Placid. Or this is just about the stillness of the water. Water does represent emotions, and they were showing me like a tumultuous the turmoil of the emotional realm was showing up as this storm-ridden sea, like a hurricane, being lost at sea, feeling, I'm hearing capsized. The tree, something about a tree, tree of life, family tree. The retrieval is what I was trying to say. Of this part of yourself, this fragment of your soul, this aspect of your consciousness, you bring it home and you reunite and you're able to enjoy life again. You feel the sensory experience come back to you. They're showing me tingling fingers and you can smell again. It feels like there was a level of numbness that resulted from this disconnection. Yeah, makes sense. They're showing me a ghostly figure trapped in a cell in the mind. So it's not even like this fragment of your soul was lost outside of you. It was lost, but within you. It was shut away. And you're calling it back and reuniting with the help of death. Death is helping you find, because death categorizes all parts of all souls. So death knows where this part of the soul is. Pull it back to you. They're showing me a string, a cord, the silver cord, the astral cord. Pull you back to you. You can feel you. They're saying something about feeling. Happiness is the key. They just said happiness is the key. Small fleeting moments of happiness. Reel it in. They're showing me a fishing rod like this. Okay, let's bring happiness. You know that the dancing game when somebody goes like this and the other person goes and like moves towards them. It's like that. Do that with yourself. Reel yourself back in and have fun with it, because this is going to help not only to retrieve that part of yourself, but it's going to help you heal. bring those parts back together, because the way to get grounded is to have, at best, a positive experience of your physical surroundings, your body, your environment, your experience, your subjective, embodiment. And at least a neutral experience, or an acceptance, an integration of negative experience without having that deep fragmentation occur. We've got the 2 9s. This happened in the last reading too. 2 9s. We've got the 9 of Wands and the 9 of Cups. So keep going. Don't stop. I know you fought a lot of battles here, okay? I know you fought a lot of battles. I can feel it. I can see it. I know you've been through the ringer. I know you've been tossed by the storm. I know your boat has capsized many times and you've had to fight to turn it back over and claw your way back in. I know that you feel like people cut the fingers off of you. The skeleton woman story is coming up again from Women Who Run with the Wolves. That came up in the last reading too. The fear of death. So don't... Oh yeah, he's fishing in that story too. And he's fishing for fish, obviously, for food. But he ends up reeling in a skeleton. A woman who was thrown out to sea. And he's so afraid, he runs away from her, but he doesn't realize that she's all tangled in the fishing wire and he's still holding the fishing rods. He's dragging her with him. So the faster he tries to run away, the more she bounces along behind him. And he runs into his igloo and he hides under the furs and she crawls in beside him, not threateningly. Oh yeah, and he cries a tear, and she drinks the tear, and she starts to become alive again. Flesh returns to her bones, and she kisses him, and they sleep together. So there's something about this reunion within the self, which is accepting and understanding the aspects of the self that died, and recalling that part of the self by not fearing death. Both literal death and the little and big deaths that we go through all the time. The loss of self through trauma is a form of death. Change in any form is also death. But death brings new life, and if we can accept it, it will allow us to regrow. They're saying respawn, like in a video game, you die, you respawn. 8 of Wands, Atlanta, sorry. Atlanta could be significant. They've started playing 2 songs in my head. Making my way in the world today takes everything you've got. Somewhere you gotta go. That's Cheers. Where everybody knows your name. Da-na-na. And they're always glad you came. This is giving me 3 of Cups energy. Reunion. Being with people who you love. Having a party or connecting with these parts of yourself that you felt like you lost, or even physically going out into the world and connecting with people, because everyone is a part of you. We're all one. We're not separate. This is part of the illusion. I'm you, you're me. We're all the same thing. We're just having these different individuated experiences. Subjectively, the experience is different, but collectively, we're all one. So I'm seeing you coming back together with yourself again, and it being very satisfying. The other song that they sang in my head was Downtown, something about downtown, going downtown. Things will be great when you're downtown. Downtown and Cheers. It's like a bar. I don't know. Maybe alcohol was involved here, losing the self through consumption of alcohol, or losing the self and then using alcohol as a tool to or a coping mechanism. 6 of Cups. I heard Secret Keeper. Memories of the past. Secret Keeper. It's 11:11 a.m. I just looked down at the clock. Secret Keeper. And the 5 of Cups. the Five of Cups. Maybe you need to talk to someone about this. Maybe you need good friends, stable relationships, a community. I'm hearing a community that understands you and that can help you to feel seen in these moments of feeling lost and alone. And I'm hearing the word perturbed. Let's look it up, because when they give me very specific words like that, there's usually additional messages in the meaning itself. Feeling anxiety or concern or unsettled. Didn't that come up in one of the previous readings? I don't even remember which one, but I'm seeing the definition, and now I'm remembering that did come up in a different reading. Feeling anxiety or concern or unsettled. I know personally, as someone who has struggled with depression and anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder and ADHD, that that feeling of anxiety, especially panic attacks, I started having panic attacks in my early teens. It can lead to this dissociation from the self, because it's so uncomfortable. It's so scary. You think you're going to die. And so you just kind of like tune out, you're like, okay, I can't deal, right? No. So there's grief in the part of the self that left as a self-protective mechanism, or there's grief for the part of the self that was ripped away by the trauma. And the healing here is in unlocking the secret, trusting yourself to go in, find the part, reel it back in, and allow this reunion to be one of joy. And I was watching a show yesterday. It was like a Christian channel show. Spirit takes me to the most random things to receive messages, but there I was. And this man was talking about how joy and happiness are synonyms, obviously, right? But like there's something, joy feels like something that comes straight from the divine. Happiness is something that we kind of strive for. It's like a state that we try to maintain. But when he was associating joy and happiness together, it kind of clicked in my head where it was like, we're always striving for this level of happiness that's almost like unattainable. What if we looked at happiness like joy, and we just allowed ourselves to embrace the intensity of it in that moment, even if it is fleeting? Because there's power in that. They're showing me Hecate and the magician again. There's power in that, and they're saying summon. So summon this, use the power, they just said, of your word. Spoken word is very powerful. Spelling. To call back this part of yourself, speak it out loud. They said, I call back this part of myself. I call back this part of myself that was ripped away during moments of anxiety, fear, or grief. I am not afraid to face the death that allows me to transform, that allows me to reunite with these parts of myself, calling them home now. And pronounce it. Pronounce it as in like, not just like pronouncing it with your mouth, but I mean, pronounce it to the universe. Pronounce it to yourself. Proclaim it and it shall be so. That's what they said. Proclaim it and it shall be so. Your free will is powerful. Your intention is powerful. You are powerful. Use that power. Call you home. The Hanged Man, Prometheus, because this part of you has been in limbo for a long time. In limbo for a long time, and it's ready to come home. So you can feel grounded with the Queen of Coins. But it takes courage and strength. Does she not look a little bit like Angelina Jolie? That's funny. Angelina, angel. But they were showing me, in my mind yesterday, they were showing me wings. Oh, the seagull. That was, oh my God, the seagull. I just remembered that the channel that I tuned to, that was like this Christian channel, they had sort of like a scene where there was just images of seagulls flying over the ocean. And I was really like being drawn to the way the wings attached to the back and the way that the seagull was flapping its wings like this. Angel retrieval, they're saying. Angelic humans. And then they were showing me a scene in Maleficent when she's the fairy and she has the wings and then they get cut off by the human who seeks power. And it's a deep betrayal. So this could have been part of a wound, was like a betrayal by somebody that you trusted really deeply. And that innocence was stripped away. And the grief associated with that, with losing that part of the self and having it chained up. You know, in the movie, those wings are chained up in a glass box. Oh my God. I heard that yesterday too, glass box of emotion. And I kind of laughed because it reminds me of Anchorman. I'm in a glass case of emotion. But that's kind of how I'm feeling, like this energy presented itself, feeling trapped, unable to get out, unable to break through, chained. This part of yourself stripped away and separated. But when the wings get free and she calls them back, they come right back to her and she's whole again. And there's something about this that it was teaching you how to navigate these different realms. It was teaching you how to understand these different parts of yourself. It was teaching you how to hold your power. They just said how to hold your power. And they're showing me somebody holding a baby, which is really interesting. Maybe it's like holding your innocence, nurturing yourself, protecting yourself. It's been teaching you how to heal. And they said how to recognize what, Spirit? You better recognize. No, but how to recognize what? They said how to recognize each other. Who to trust, perhaps. Who to hold space for your healing, they're saying. And they're showing me groups of friends again. Okay, so groups of friends are important here in the healing, or they could have been important in the wounding or involved in the wounding. But I'm seeing you flying above this now. Being able to retrieve this part of your soul puts you back together. They're showing me Humpty Dumpty. All of the king's horses and all of the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. But that's because the king's horses and men are not you. Only you can put you back together again. But there will be help. I'm hearing, ooh, that was loud. There will be help. We have the zebra. Let go of fear and know that you are protected at all times. Perhaps getting out of black and white thinking. Sometimes they show me zebras when there's black and white thinking going on, which is a cognitive distortion. We have honeybee. Let compassion and forgiveness be your top priority in this situation. Compassion for yourself, forgiveness for yourself or others who hurt you is part of the retrieval, they're saying. It clears things out of the way. They're showing me clearing a fog and moving through, retrieving, grabbing. And the honeybee is very healing. That's why I've got the honeybee here. And very determined. They beeline it. So there's something about being able to heal by feeling your way towards this part of yourself and then calling it back in. We have Kiwi do a walking meditation each day for the next week. They've been telling me this for the last few days, and this came up in the last reading. I just looked up and it was 3333. Okay, so this is direct guidance coming from our guides, from Spirit, saying, look, guys, we would really appreciate it if you would go on some walking meditations. Just gentle walking is enough to stimulate some kind of healing, memories, recall, they're saying. Grounding, it's very grounding, yes. Oh yeah, right. When you walk, you are doing bilateral movement, and bilateral movement creates bilateral stimulation in the brain, which reconnects, bridges the gap. They kept saying mind the gap and bridging the gap in some of the previous readings. And they were showing me like neural connections across the central meridian of the brain, so connecting the right and left brain. And when we have trauma, sometimes there can be splits like that, and that's the black and white thinking. It's like literally the separation in the brain. And by doing bilateral stimulation, which is a technique also used in EMDR, you can heal by reintegrating these parts of the mind and allowing these traumatic memories or somatic memories to be processed. I'm hearing atrocities, these atrocities to be processed and released. Okay, we have Meerkat, I knew it. Get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. Friends are very important for you here. Friends are going to, they said friends are your best friend. Death is your best friend. Didn't they say that before? Death is your friend. You're well acquainted with death. Maybe you work with a friend group in terms of like archangels, or this could be literal friends that you're meant to, they said, understand more deeply. Maybe this is about sharing with your friends, helping them to understand you. We also have Goose, take time to rest and recuperate rather than continuing your striving. So making sure that you're taking time to honor how you're feeling, because this is part of the healing. And Roadrunner, this one really wanted to come out. Keep your sense of humor and don't take things so seriously. So that happiness, that joy, the sense of humor, being able to laugh at it a little bit, it's going to help to recall this part of the self. I know it feels heavy when you're dealing with trauma, wounding, emotional and psychological stuff that it is atrocious. These are atrocities that are done that rip the part of self. It is very serious business. But at the same time, part of healing it is being able to have perspective, and humor helps to elevate and raise our frequency to give us a perspective that allows us to heal and to find this part of the self that's lost. It's like a homing beacon is what they're showing me. A homing beacon, homing pigeon, they just said as well. Homing pigeon, messenger pigeon, a white dove, they're showing me. Peace in the heart frequency. They're showing me a wellspring in the heart opening up, and a cup, the Ace of Cups. I don't know if we had that, but the Ace of Cups in the heart replenishing itself. It's like a fountain. Okay. One more. Okay, thank you. Let's see what else. Of course, the tortoise came out again. Right. Yes. So get grounded. Call these parts of yourself back together. Many pieces of a whole. I'm hearing many pieces of a whole. I just noticed that the elk here, I missed that one. Antlers were coming up in the last reading. Elk, it was out, sitting there. I just missed it. Stand tall and maintain your dignity no matter what, and others will treat you with the respect that you deserve. Standing tall, owning your power. They're saying calling it back again, and they're showing me the elk calling. They make like a weird noise. I've heard like elk call devices they used. Predator and prey could have been significant here. Boundaries with certain people who are predatory, who will take advantage, who will steal from you, who will betray you, like knowing, being able to feel who is worthy of your friendship and who is not, who to steer clear of, I just heard. And they're showing me steering the ship, like not keel hauling. Oh, that's like a form of punishment. But something about turning it like really sharply 90 degrees to avoid something or to change direction. Okay. Anything else? They just want me to split the deck on my channeled messages deck. Void. Okay, this part of yourself was trapped in the void. But the void is also the place where everything is born from. So it's both scary and comforting and peaceful. I've been in the void. Ooh, we have star family. Yeah, your friends. You have a lot of friends that are part of your star family. So work with them. They said trusted individuals. You can trust those individuals. Trust yourself to know who. But yeah, I've been in the void. Spirit took me to the void. I've been there a couple of times, but the one that really stands out, it was such a bizarre feeling because I was like floating in blackness. I had no body. I was just consciousness. And I felt both extreme fear at the experience of this and the awareness of that, but also I felt complete and utter peace. And they were both perfectly balanced. There was like this extreme fear and terror, like mortal terror, and then extreme peace and acceptance. And they were both just sitting there like that. And I was experiencing them both at once. And it was like the weirdest feeling ever, but it was fascinating and I was okay with it. And I'm glad that I felt that I can understand that duality and that unity. the duality in the unity. So this is part of the healing as well. Okay. They want you to know you're loved. They just told me that. They want you to know you're loved, that you're protected, that you're being guided through this. It's not a wild goose chase. It might feel like you're lost sometimes. You will find yourself. You're on track, they're saying. You're on track, okay? So that's confirmation for somebody. So that instead of continuing to like push yourself and get further lost, slow down, tune in, find that inner compass, the happiness, the joy, the feeling of friendship, and you'll find it. You'll find you. But don't stop. If you're in hell, keep moving, because you'll get out. You'll get out. Okay? I think that's the message here, guys. The medicine in the wound. I hope this was helpful. Take what resonates and leave the rest. This is a bit of a deeper, more emotional reading. If you guys need anything, let me know. I'm not currently offering personal readings right now, but I may open them up in December. So stay tuned. My website is linked below. That's where all of my offers are. Tarot 101 is now available. I've got those activations and downloads to help you out if you feel called. What else? We've got the memberships as well on the Soul Family and Soul Tribe side of the channel. You can subscribe to get the additional members-only exclusive pick-a-card readings and or the monthly live streams with me. And in those live streams, we are more interactive. We do collective readings. We bring through messages for the members or whatever is needing to be brought through. I'm also a certified Reiki master practitioner and an Akashic reader. I specialize in soul realignment. And I don't do those as services anymore, but in those live streams sometimes things like that will come up, and we'll do a little bit of energy healing, or we'll look at some aspect of the soul or something, whatever's needed, whatever I'm called to do. I'm in service. I work for the divine. They call the shots, and they don't really give me a schedule in advance in most cases. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you lots of love and healing for your greatest and highest good. Seal it, heal it, feel it. You are blessed. You are divinely led and guided. And you are loved. Okay, we'll see you in the next reading. Bye.